Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. Yeah. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. We take the west side, take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Not so tough, but mans keep walking. Yeah, just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
The one who is most bumming today is Juwan Jennings.
Yeah.
He's like, I was right there.
Yep.
If we just knew the overtime rules, if our coaches just understood what the rules were in overtime.
Some genius.
Stugotz just whispered to me before we put the microphones on, and you'll forgive me if we sound a little bloated. Put it on the poll at LeBatardShow. Is the only thing you win in Vegas puffiness? But Stugotz just said to me, I was wrong about everything except for Brock Purdy.
Yep, nailed it. Blah, blah, blah.
The 49ers, or I shouldn't say the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan has now had in Super Bowls multiple leads of 10 points and one lead of 25 points that he has not held on to. Patrick Mahomes, the stats, Stugotz, are crazy.
Yes.
When you look at the amount of winning he has done by the age of 28 years old.
It's insane. I mean, to have 3 Super Bowls, to make it to the Super Bowl for a 4th time, to have 3 Super Bowl MVPs. He is, if you want to call him the second greatest quarterback today, I'm not going to argue you. I'm not.
Wait a minute. That's not what people might be calling him today.
Well, no, he's not the best. Dan.
Okay,
I mean,
that's fine. You are
Don't
doing.
embarrass yourself.
You are doing what Skip Bayless is doing. Skip Bayless said Brady would have won in regulation by 14 for either team.
I say 21.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Not my first rodeo. I mean.
Booger McFarland did hit Mahomes on set after the game with best I've ever seen do it as he was shaking his hand.
That's insane.
What's that, Billy?
That's just what you say in the moment.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
He
yeah,
got caught
exactly
up.
right.
Yeah,
he
caught
said
up.
that to Brady God knows how many times. Dan, if you want a fresh take on GBF this morning, because we did one of those, we played a game of what if Tom Brady came in at halftime?
Wow.
Yep. Or overtime.
For which team?
Not going to tell you. Won't tell you. You're going to have to listen.
You'll have to listen to God Bless Football to find out. This is from Evan Abrams. Patrick Mahomes has trailed by 7+ points in 11 playoff games. He has now taken the lead back in 10 of those 11 games. That's nuts. Brady will have forever over him that Mahomes couldn't beat him in the Super Bowl, and that's going to keep aging better for Tom Brady.
Yes, the head-to-head. Right. With Tampa.
Smart Football, that's right. That's with Tampa. Smart Football says Patrick Mahomes has been a starting quarterback in the NFL for 6 seasons, during which time he, quote, has been to the 4 Super Bowls and won 3 of them, has never finished worse than the AFC title game, won the division all 6 seasons, and in the playoffs has a winning percentage of 83%. Incidentally, the Kansas City Chiefs traded Tyreek Hill and then won back-to-back Super Bowls.
Yes. Crazy.
With nobody. With Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Mecole Hardman as a retread because they cut him into the Jets. They came back with nobody.
They trade Tyreek Hill, and then what their receivers are known for after that is just not being able to catch the football. And they win the Super Bowl with the worst Kansas City team we've seen, I think, right?
Well, the defense is so good.
Speaking of MBS, that 19.5 reception, you always kind of went backwards on everybody when he made that play.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys saw what happened there, I've been making fun of that bet all season because I've lost it all 7 times I've made it. He's always been at plus 13.5 yards and catches. I'm like, he just needs 1 catch. I'll win that bet. I was 0-7 this year making that bet. I never won it.
You were due. I mean.
No, but yesterday was 18.5, and then he
Yeah.
makes the one catch for 16, and I'm like, that's how it happens with him.
Yeah.
But then he makes another catch and goes backwards for 3 yards.
Yeah.
And then he makes
does.
another catch, and he got over it. He got over to 20 yards.
I had it. Yeah.
Congratulations, Stugotz.
Thank you. I also had the game going to overtime at plus 900. How about that? Had a night.
If you're making that bet, you are making a lot of bets.
It's fun, man. It's the Super Bowl.
Oh, there's nothing like an hour before the Super Bowl. See how many props I can put in this next hour.
Jessica, why did you make a face at what Stugotz was saying there?
Because it was a rough week in Las Vegas, followed up by, I think, a lot of people in this room trying to recoup some of their Vegas losses in the Super Bowl, which is never really a good strategy for betting.
I should say to the entirety of our group that I was really proud of you guys last week. It was a very difficult thing to execute on our own. And I can say, and this one's a stunner, I'm going to name the 3 stars of Super Bowl week right now. Number 3 is Patrick Mahomes. Congratulations to Patrick Mahomes.
Way to go, Pat. Yep.
Number 2 is Stugotz.
Thank you.
Congratulations to Stugotz. And I don't think people understand how hard it is to top Stugotz during Super Bowl week, but this person was a rock star. Greg Cody, the star of Super Bowl week.
Yes.
I don't believe anyone in the history of Super Bowl week or Super Bowl media has ever debuted a surprise band that then performed in front of people.
He didn't want to come back. I was talking to him yesterday, and he was just still smiling, still on cloud 9. I have to, I get as frustrated with him as anyone, and I was smiling all week just looking at him. He was in heaven. It was really cool to see.
It's the happiest I have ever seen your father, and then he got as drunk as I have ever or anyone has ever seen him.
I had to go into dad mode Friday after. He celebrated. He was feeling all the love from the people, and he goes, hey, we're done. I'm going to party. And thanks to DraftKings for hosting a little, mixer after the event. And my dad, generally, he can crush some Miller Lights. Oh, he can go all day.
Well, when your dad's a mixer, though.
That's what I mean.
When your dad's a mixer, when he goes beer and then liquor.
He didn't even mix, though. It's worse, Dano. It's worse, Dano. He went straight to the brown. The first drink I saw him with was a Crown and Diet, and I'm just like, it's going to be a long one.
He got a Super Bowl week MVP.
We had to leave for the airport at 9 p.m. By about 7, I had to put people in charge of him when I was leaving his side. Like, at one point, I was like, Roy, I'm going over here for a second. Can you watch my dad? And Roy was like, I got you, because everyone could sense he needed it.
That actually tracks, though, because as I went up to Greg as I was leaving the bar, I was like, Greg, you did such an amazing job this week. Like, you really crushed it.
Started weeping.
Tears in his eyes. I was like, oh, man, I got to get out of here. Greg's crying. I got to go.
That was early in the drinking.
That was at like 4.
Yeah.
I was riding that moving walkway thing, Dan, in the airport, and I just hear my name screamed from across the airport and didn't know who it was. And then I saw Greg go, "Malaga!" Like just screaming from across the airport, sitting next to Jeremy. And I was like, oh, okay. Like I was in the middle, so then I walked back. And I was like, hey, Greg. And he's just giggling like a crazy person. He's like, we just wanted to see if you'd walk over here. And I was like, all right, have a safe flight, Greg.
I have seen Greg Cody drunk more than any human being, like just as terms of compiling. In my life, there is no human being that I have seen drunk more often. Before this weekend, the drunkest I had seen him was at my brother's very first art show when he got into the red wine and knocked one of my brother's paintings off the wall.
Oh, no.
Wow.
You break it, you buy it, or what?
My brother never forgave him. Went to his grave not forgiving him.
Wow.
He was drunker than that this weekend by 6 p.m. So I don't even know where the night ended up after that.
At a diner at the airport. I was like, Dad, we got to eat.
That was sad.
It was a sad diner. We kind of like ran into this thing where it's like, we don't have enough time now. We wanted to go eat at the place at the hotel, but there was a wait. So it's like, let's just go to the airport so we don't have to rush. And the options at the airport were a sad diner.
Did the diner help? I mean, just in terms of soaking up the alcohol.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, he was a couple rows behind me on the flight. Mm-hmm. I looked back multiple times, asleep the entire flight. The best sleep he's ever gotten. He woke up in Fort Lauderdale just bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
I'll tell you what helped more, Stu. They were giving out Tums at our live show on Friday, and I, thank God, had like 10 in my pocket, and I chewed all of those before our red eye. Shout out to Tums. This is the only thing that got me to Miami the next morning because,
I am looking
I was
at all
feeling
of
that.
us. There are a whole bunch of defeated people in here right now. I don't see a whole lot of freshness right now. I see a lot of people crawling around on their elbows. Billy says that there was a lot of trauma bonding last week.
Yeah, that's how things work on work trips.
Yeah.
Lots of trauma bonding. You get put into these situations with these people that you know, but you don't know. You know what I mean? Like, you work with them, but you don't know them until you go on work trips together, and then you trauma bond.
Yeah.
That's how work trips work.
And then you know.
Exactly right. I trauma bonded with Lucy and Chris, and I feel like we should have Lucy here to talk about this tomorrow because we went on a zip line together in the middle of the rain over Fremont Street. Yeah.
What happened to Brave Chris? I thought
we'll
Chris
get to
was-
that tomorrow.
Oh, you don't remember seeing it? It never made air.
Yeah.
Glad we did it.
Why didn't it make air?
Okay, we can get to that.
Had nothing to do with me.
Technical issues, rain, wireless microphones, flying 50 feet over people's heads. The people with the other ends of the microphones are 300 yards away or whatever. I don't know. From what I've told, that's going to make air. They're trying to fix it. It's just a quick turnaround for that. But Chris was not happy with that situation.
I mean, it's just, I don't like these things in general. Look, I know there's an isolated video on social of me just like acting like a baby going down the zip line.
Right.
They don't realize the 45 minutes that we sat there waiting. Okay, my least favorite thing in all of like these type of things is when my body weight is on, I can feel my body weight being held by some rinkety-dink thing. Okay, and we sat there with my body weight on this thing for a half. I turned into a diva. It was the most I've
Wait,
ever.
you were hanging in the sky for 45
Well, no, they
minutes?
did this thing.
Right, clarify. You're on
Like,
the edge.
They
Like,
lay
where
you
are
on this thing where
Right.
you're hooked up, and then they lower the thing away from you.
he was laying on a little nap pad that kindergartners use that was elevated.
But but no,
I
then-
wouldn't like that either.
But then they
It
tested
was-
you
it was
when
not
they lowered
hanging.
it. When they lowered it, you were hanging with all your body weight. It was the worst. I
Let
hated
Lucy
it.
explain it to you tomorrow because she
No.
had a firsthand view of the two big babies.
No,
that
Chris
were
is
doing
right,
that.
though. But when you go zip lining, okay, and I've done it once, like when they strap you in, you want to just go. Like, don't strap me in and have me sit there for 45
The
minutes,
worst part
please.
is thinking about it right before, and we had to do. It's like, and we had a million camera people there, but yet we had the one camera guy in front of us had to go to the other end. We had to sit there and wait for it. It's just.
We also had the people that were in charge of our safety on it, and very professional people. They were getting also annoyed with the long wait, and there's nothing that you want less in a moment where you're like feeling vulnerable and possibly, at risk for bodily harm than the people in charge of your safety being annoyed with you, because that's what was going on. And I was like, oh, we better go going before someone like unties something or whatever.
And the 30 people that were waiting to go had to sit there and wait for us because we're this like fancy show that comes in and cuts the line.
And you were self-conscious about making other people wait.
Sat there for a half hour making them wait.
Had nothing to do with him, Jess.
I just hated every second of it. I said multiple times, this is my least favorite thing I've done with this show. I hate. I was like, I can leave this right now. I will tell them. I don't have to do that. I almost did that.
You almost stormed
There was
off?
a
You
point.
thought about
There
saying
was
it.
a point where I
Right,
was just
yeah.
like, I don't have to do this.
Yeah.
I have rights.
Yep.
It's been too long. It's raining.
There was a point where it was taking so long. They're like, okay, we're just gonna unhook you guys and let the other people go, and then when you guys are ready, we'll hook you back up. And like, me and Chris looked at each other like, if we get unhooked, we're not getting back on this thing. Like,
got
get
unhooked,
out of
I
here.
was
I'm
gone.
not doing this whole thing again. But Lucy can tell you about that tomorrow.
All right, I'm glad we embargoed all of that until tomorrow when Lucy and Greg are here.
I trauma bonded karaoke singing also with Mike Fuentes. Thursday was a day, man. I'll
we had
tell
a
you.
day,
We
yeah.
were going back and forth. Like
Yeah.
Wednesday and Thursday when we had like the rehearsals and then we had the live show and we had Radio Row. It was like incredible, and shout out to Kristen and Kirsten and everybody who kind of like did the logistics and the planning and all of the drivers that were involved. But it was like, you're here until 1:10, then you're hopping in this car, then you're driving across town, then you're getting through. And it was like the rush of getting everything done with the minimal amount of time that we had to do it. And Thursday was like the craziest day for that, because we really was like, meet and greet the fans, but you have to leave exactly at this time. Get in the car. Go through security. We sat down with 2 minutes to spare before our first interview. Then we had 5 straight interviews. Then we had to do this. Then we had Mina and Dominique's show right after that. So it was like constantly moving around.
And then karaoke.
Well, the karaoke, there was this slight window where it was like me and Mike Fuentes looked at each other.
The slight window was me going to the bathroom. I mean,
We had a slight
Right.
window while we were waiting for the car to get there to then go and take us to the next thing that we had to go to. And then there was this truck that was sponsored by an unnamed alcohol company. And they were like, if you want, you can sign up here and you can get, like a, koozie, or you could get a, whatever, like a keychain or whatever. And we said, you know what? We're just waiting here for the car to get here. We'll sign up. So naturally, as you do in those things, when you don't want to be bothered with things, I signed up with Tony's email. He signed up with Lewis's email. So you guys will be getting, promotional things for the rest of your life at your work email from this alcohol company.
Excellent, yeah.
So we did that. And then we were still waiting for the car. And they're like, you guys want to do karaoke? And we're like, well, we don't really have time, but yeah, we'll do karaoke, because we finished all of our interviews. We finished doing the live show. That was our last day at Radio Row. So it was, a culmination of a week's worth of events. So then we went right in the back of that thing. Backstreet Boys' Backstreet Back is there. You're gonna obviously sing Backstreet's Back all right. And we were killing it. The dancers for this unnamed alcohol company were dancing outside of the truck. There was a window. We were there in like the valet section of the Mandalay Bay, so it was blasting out of the truck. Stugotz is texting us, "Where are you guys? Where are you guys?" While we're singing there, it's me, Mike Fuentes, and Juju just like, everybody, yeah, killing this song. Then we got the text that our car was there, so we had to leave in the middle. And as we were leaving, and this is the part that I'm nervous about sharing with the class, as we were leaving, the DJ that was inside of the back of this converted food truck looking thing that was just there for karaoke and for this unnamed alcohol brand handed Mike Fuentes a USB immediately and said, "Here's your performance." So somewhere out there, there's a video of us singing in the back of this truck.
Go get it right now.
Fuentes
Go
has
get
it
it.
somewhere.
I don't know where it is, but it's honestly the fastest file transfer I've ever seen. We basically just put on our backpacks and they handed us a little USB. I'm like, how did you have this? Because we left in the middle of the song.
Are you
Rock your body,
somebody who was actively, because of all the times that Stugotz kept you waiting with his
Oh, he was a nightmare.
cigarette break?
I had to go to the bathroom, man.
Let me add. Were you retaliating for all of his cigarette breaks by keeping him waiting while doing karaoke?
No, I mean, the karaoke was there. We were waiting for a car. We made the most of our time. What am I supposed to do? If someone says, "Do you want to sing Backstreet Boys and get a free T-shirt?" What are you going to say?
Right.
What are you going to say?
Super Bowl Radio Row, that's what it's all about.
Exactly right.
Yep.
It was a celebratory moment. Me and Mike Fuentes went through the trenches together last week. You can talk to him off air about it. He saw firsthand what I'm dealing with on a regular basis.
Put these things on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Have you ever done karaoke with someone immediately after trauma bonding with them? And also, do you use the emails of your friends to sign up for things that you don't want to hear from
fairness, someone did it to me because I have one guess as to who it was based on what the email that I get. I am constantly getting emails from the University of Miami about season ticket holder opportunities. And I can guarantee you I did not sign up for that.
You too?
You two signed you up? No. I mean, I feel what Billy's saying right there, because I've experienced that Stugotz's entire thing at Radio Row, like first thing Monday morning, and then the rest of the week I was like, I'm gonna stay away from this for a while.
It's a lot. It's a glowing nuclear
I like to
epicenter.
dominate.
Going on a smoke break like 10 minutes into the show, the first day. We have like 1 hour left on the set.
Yep.
I'm like, where'd you go?
Let's
He's
put
like,
up on this.
smoking.
Let's put up on the screen here how much
Comes back in
bigger
an hour.
Cam Newton is than Billy Gill. Everybody was a little bit surprised by the size of Cam Newton. I'm not sure why you would be surprised by the size of Cam Newton.
No, damn, but there's big, and then there's Cam Newton big. He's like double Billy's
He's the
width.
biggest goal line threat in the history of our most violent sport.
Tom Brady, will you stop it?
See, I think Billy holds his own in this. Like, Stugotz looks small next to him.
Well, I look small next to anyone.
But I'm just saying, Billy, like, I think the opposite. I think, look how big Billy looks next to Cam Newton.
It is a low angle. He's enormous. He's massive. Like, I'm not like a tiny guy. I'm not like a big guy, but I'm not like a tiny guy. But like, I'm comparable in height to like a lot of the people.
Josh
that we would
Allen.
talk. Yeah, like he's like 2 inches taller than me. Like he's a big guy too. Cam is like another level, and I couldn't believe, like, I can't believe that people are able to injure Cam Newton. I really can't believe that he's capable of being hurt.
He's not even wearing pads there, and it looks like he's wearing pads
He's
underneath
in great
his shirt.
shape. Like, great shape.
Put it on the poll, please. Does it look like Cam Newton is wearing pads when he's not wearing pads?
Was he excited to be talking to you here, Billy?
Oh,
Like,
he had
what
no
was-
idea who I was. Come on. I mean, he plays a good game. He doesn't know who I was.
We will have Greg Cody around here tomorrow to laugh and enjoy with him the wonder that was him becoming a rock star in front of our eyes. But I want to first, since we're speaking of drunk people, I want to wander over to the Waste Management Open and just show you golfers yelling at drunk fans, because there's an assortment of B-roll from the Waste Management Open that continues to escalate over the years. Mm-hmm. People keep getting drunker and drunker, so there were hospitalizations. There were an assortment of fights. There was Zach Johnson yelling at fans. Let's play the video of Zach Johnson yelling at fans, because we've got him. We've got Billy Horschel yelling at fans. Stugotz, originally, at one point, we were going to have you go straight from the Super Bowl to the Waste Management Open to get into this debauchery here. Yes. But let's play some of that. Let's go with Zach Johnson first, please. Show him just screaming at fans, and we will have an assortment as well of B-roll here for you.
Let me.
Oh, don't sir me. Somebody said it. I'm just sick of it. Just shut up. Fucking grow up. Number one.
That's someone giving him crap over his choices for the Ryder Cup, and it's just drunk people. And then Billy Horschel, people are yelling at Billy Horschel when there's a guy swinging. They're yelling at Billy when the guy in the fairway swinging, and then it's just, oh my God, it's so awkward. When the Waste Management has me saying, guys, dial it back a little bit.
No,
that's when you know it's like.
No, it was too much. They stopped alcohol sales on Saturday.
I don't care.
Because the crowd was so unruly. And this is an event where they expect the crowd to be unruly. Like, that is...
They encourage
it. It is more than encouraged.
Yes.
Like, they expect this. And that is what makes this event stand out on the calendar. But apparently, it was just way too much.
They got carried away because the PGA Tour and its players, has encouraged those fans to drink, especially on that hole. And one weekend of the year, you have to deal with unruly fans. Every single game that an NFL player plays, they deal with unruly fans. You get it once a year, and you're going to complain if you're Billy Horschel or Jordan Spieth or any of those guys. Terrible job by them.
Let's play the clip here of Billy Horschel losing it.
All right. Go watch the shot. Get him next year. Buddy, when he's over a shot, shut the hell up, man. Guys. Come on. We're trying to get a damn golf shot here. It's our fucking job.
It's just, you could just see the frustration of, like, guys, enough.
Put on the
long weekend.
Put on. I heard it here. Let's just run some B-roll of just the insanity that was the Waste Management Open. I cannot think of a worse combination in sports of ingredients than the golfer etiquette and just general drunkenness. And the only thing that this tournament is known for is everyone's gonna get rip-roaring drunk. It's the reason your tournament matters.
Yeah, but you don't want people to get so drunk that they're being like hospitalized and they're hurting other people. Like, there is obviously a limit, Stugotz, to how much unruliness you're allowed to have, where it becomes a liability for the people putting on the event. And I think that was the fear with this weekend. And everyone got really mad when they stopped selling alcohol. And I think they also temporarily closed the entrance because there were so many people coming in too. So I think that I don't know where the line is, but I guess the people putting on the event felt that the line had been crossed.
Jessica, I'm going to say here's where the line is. When the Waste Management Open cuts off liquor sales, I'll say, good. If your
line has been crossed,
if you're telling me the Waste Management Open is saying that's it, we're going dry here. We're afraid of a death. We've entered the fights and hospitalization area. I'm good with the Waste Management Open saying no more liquor sales. We've got liability problems here.
I love being drunk as much as the next guy, but when is ever just sliding down a hill shirtless like a fun thing to do?
You would do it.
Oh, please.
No, I wouldn't.
You would do it.
They do that at the Little League World Series every year, and everybody thinks it's adorable because it's kids. But then all of a sudden, an adult male who may or may not be slightly overweight does it, and it's a problem.
I can't
Get
believe
out of here.
I can't believe
hypocrisy, body shaming.
Bert Kreischer drank like that.
I'm not gonna lie. When I saw these videos and I saw that like shit was hitting the fan, I was like, glad I already went last year. Don't care what happens now. Been there, done that.
This is on them though. Like, they've encouraged this for so long. Like, this, you wanted this to be this, and then it was too much of what you wanted, and now it's a problem. Like, you did this to yourself.
The fans are saying, how do we outdo what we did last year? That's it. I mean,
all good things get ruined.
Yep.
Is it going to be like, remember when South Beach was like, we don't want people in here anymore? Like, are they going to do this next year at the Waste Management where there's just like crazy security, limit to drinks? Like, there's got to be something.
It would be great if there was a tank there next year.
I want to ask you guys something about stress and pressure and the amount of times that we spend at these microphones saying that someone else in a pressurized situation didn't handle the pressure correctly. I don't know if you guys heard me. I was a bit out of it over the entirety of the week because of the general stresses of the week. But at one point on Friday, and I don't even remember who it is that I said this to, I spit uncharacteristically out of the side of my mouth, "Get the fuck away from me," at somebody. And the reason I bring this up is because I think Kelce's going to get to skate on almost knocking his coach over. And I'm not sure that he would have gotten to skate if they had lost the game or if he had had a bad game. He had a quiet game most of the game, and then all of a sudden it becomes 9 catches for 93 yards on 10 targets.
But they won, and we're calling it a love tap. I mean.
Well, I'm curious because I'm genuinely curious. I'm always saying, these are volatile situations involving emotional people. And the amount of stress on Travis Kelce, whether he's won or not, given what his season has been, all football players will tell you these seasons are longer than they've ever been now with 17 games. And all of them will tell you that it is an unholy grind on your body and mind. Now add Taylor Swift to the mix. And all of that.
Well, he added that to the mix.
I understood. Okay. Stugotz.
Right.
Okay. Yes.
That doesn't mean it's not in the mix.
Yes.
I'm not saying it's not in the mix, but you don't bump your coach like that. Like, you just don't do that. In that spot, Andy Reid has helped that team and helped Travis Kelce become a Hall of Fame wide receiver. Seriously. Andy Reid
Hall
has
of
won.
Fame tight end.
He's a Hall of Fame tight end. That team is an historic team. It is now a dynasty, and Andy Reid has been in charge of that team and done good by Kelce, Mahomes,
Agreed.
and the entire team.
Stugotz.
Don't do it in that spot.
Okay. Everything you're saying is accurate.
Right.
And I'm also adding to you the stress of Travis Kelce playing in that Super Bowl and having early. They're down double digits, 3 catches, and I think he was out of the game when they got the fumble, correct? Isn't that what happened? Is that what he was mad about? Was he mad? Pacheco fumbled, Kelce was out of the game. I thought that's what he was mad about. Maybe it was something else. I didn't see the reporting. Yes, of course, Stugotz. Don't hit your coach. Yes. However, what I saw there is what I see all the time on sidelines under pressure, and we always react the way that we do, and none of us know what that feels like. None of us have any idea what it feels like to be at the center of all of that on a Sunday when the world is watching and you have spent that entire season at the center of, your Tuesday is Aaron Rodgers takes you out as Mr. Pfizer. That's your Tuesday morning throughout the entire season.
This might feel like an obvious take for me, but I like it, right? It stirred a fire under Andy Reid. It feels like to me they hadn't really schemed Travis Kelce into that first quarter, right? There was a lot of running the ball.
They had 20 first quarter yards.
He had 1 target for 1 yard in what felt like the first quarter. So he probably went over to Big Red and was like, "Hey, get me involved. Like, let's go. Like, I'm the engine of this team. Make it happen."
How can you be more upset with Kelce than Andy Reid was?
Because I can.
That's the part I was I see the internet freaking out.
But here's the other thing, because he's not actually. He doesn't actually care.
Right.
Like, it's just a thing to say.
Don't reveal that, Dan. I did see afterwards. I was curious to see how they both played it off, because obviously you just won the Super Bowl. You don't want to that to be the story on Monday, but they both really downplayed it afterwards. And Andy Reid was just you could tell he was definitely rattled. At least to me, he seemed rattled, but he was yeah, I really took my legs out from under me. He keeps me young, Travis. And I was like, oh.
I think that these people understand a couple of different things, I would say, Stugotz. They understand the pressure cooker that is their environment. And this is the other part that I think gets noticed less. They actually love each other. And so that happens sometimes when you argue with people in tense situations and things leak out the side and you don't even know that the thing you're arguing about isn't the thing that you're arguing about.
Right.
Andy Reid has coached a lot of men, but when I'm talking about love, right, because many of you may assume, well, how do you know they love each other? I mean, trauma bonding, people go through the pressures.
You're assuming.
Pressure. I am assuming.
Right.
Yes, I'm assuming. Mm-hmm. But something else I'm assuming, and I'm guessing that a lot of you who were cynical about this might be less so today. Looked to me like Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift love each other too.
Yeah.
That looked to me like that's what was happening there. We did a lot of, a lot of time during this season, a lot of people are saying this is orchestrated, I'm cynical, this is manipulated, and then they win the Super Bowl, and when they're together and you're seeing them hold each other, you're like, okay, they seem to be sharing. That's the best. Sharing the joy is the best. Getting to it yourself is pretty cool. Sharing it with someone else who was close to it, that knows what you were nursing on your body on Wednesdays because you're limping around the house and what that guy does for a living is totally insane.
You have her there on Wednesdays, just with the ice bags, and
she was in Tokyo on Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean,
occasional Wednesdays.
I don't know. Check in here.
It's like Roy's hockey show.
Occasional Fridays, by the way.
People that were doubting Andy Reid's flexibility with the whole Travis Kelce thing, they must not have seen him after the game celebrating with Chris Jones, because I saw a man that can go up and down with the best of them.
Let's see this, because he didn't go up and down with the best of them. He went down with the best of them. He had some trouble getting up with the best of them.
Is that a saying?
Let's watch this video here of Chris Jones is on the floor. He's celebrating. Andy Reid doesn't really have a plan as he gets there.
He gets down.
And
he's
then,
like, oh,
there
this
it
is
is.
a moment.
And there it is.
And then it's time to get up.
Now it's hard to get up. Yes, he is not getting up with the best of them.
That's so great. And he helps Chris Jones up.
At the peak of it, that is a great moment. And then it's like, cut. He's like, up. Oh, we are celebrating. We are having a moment. All right, I'm going to get out of here.
Help me, please.
Now I'm going to help you up. He got up a lot easier, Chris Jones.
Dan and Mike did that Friday too, actually. You guys didn't see it.
I want to watch this again from start to finish. First, Andy Reid did not intend to be entirely on top of Chris Jones there.
So much weight he's putting on his stomach there.
That is more weight than Chris Jones had on him than at any point during that football game. And
Chris Jones is like, oh, this is going to be, oh, shit, he's on top
Let's
of
watch the getting up, though. The getting up in fragments. It's like watching a skyscraper try to get up off its
Almost
knees.
a little honk there from Andy Reid, by the way. Whoa!
Hey, yo.
Almost.
Hold on. Let's count the number of touches on Chris Jones's body as he tries to get up. No,
Okay.
when he tries to
Okay,
get
when he
up.
tries to
Ready?
get up.
Ready?
1, 2,
3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh!
Well, how's your uncle?
Wow.
It was my favorite clip of last night.
Dangerously close there, Coach.
Travis Kelce would have been, if they lose, if Brock Purdy scores a touchdown there, and Kansas City somehow doesn't get to the matching touchdown, although I heard the players on Kansas City were saying they practiced overtime all week and that they were going for 2 if they scored the touchdown. If they scored the touchdown to tie.
That's what you say. That's what you say.
Well, they say that's what they were practicing. That is what they said they were practicing.
You know who didn't say that? San Francisco, because they didn't practice it.
Right.
Juszczyk seemed confused about the whole operation.
Juszczyk said, I don't understand what the rules are. I was learning what the rules were on the scoreboard.
Practice that, knowing the rules.
Seriously, in his defense, like there's very high-paid college football coaches making millions of dollars a year that also admit in post-game press conferences they don't know the overtime rules because the possession thing confuses people. And I'm not going to lie, CBS could have done a slightly better job telling me a little bit sooner than they did that the clock wasn't going to be a factor there.
Well, Tony had no idea as well.
Tony
No one
told
did.
us with like 9 seconds left in overtime.
I was
Guys,
like, I
don't freak out.
I was like, I think we go to another period here, but there was no 2-minute warning, and I'm not 100% sure what's about to happen. So maybe they should snap the ball. But Mahomes knew.
I like that overtime rule. I do. I thought it
I
was
like
great.
it too.
Yeah.
The problem with it, though, is that when Tony was delivering it, Tony also said a number of times, this is for the game, when if you understood the
wasn't.
rules as they
It
told us,
wasn't.
it
Yeah.
wasn't for the
He
game.
was
Yeah.
So
confusing.
while he's saying the time doesn't matter, I still wasn't 100% sure if that was true or not and if he knew the rules. We
Romo?
were all learning together.
SpongeBob
Yes.
did a better job on the Nickelodeon broadcast of knowing the rules than Tony.
But Romo had like 15 plays that were for the game, for the season, for the Super Bowl.
Romo,
love him.
Romo
Love that guy.
also, you're saying he could have done it before 8 seconds were left, but if he hadn't done it when 8 seconds were left, all of America would have been screaming at their television, why aren't you calling your timeouts? Everybody in America would have been screaming that because Romo did calm people down, and sometimes broadcasters do end up escalating that stuff. I'll explain to you, though, just very simply, where it is that San Francisco screwed up the overtime coin toss and everything else. This is where it gets screwed up. If you win the coin toss, your choice simply cannot be, under any circumstance invented throughout football time, give Patrick Mahomes all the chances at the end to know exactly what he's got to get. You want those advantages to yourself. You do not want to give them to that man. If Kyle Shanahan, that one's going to haunt him for a while because A, he had the better team, B, their game plan was great. And you lost anyway. Like, your team was better, your game plan was properly executed, and you lost because that guy is that guy.
I do get the argument because the 49ers defense had just been on the field for a long part of that at the end of the fourth quarter. Maybe you wanted to give them a break and not make it so easy for Patrick Mahomes if he's going to have the ball first in overtime. And I also see the argument if you score a touchdown, Mahomes scores a touchdown and you're tied, now you get a chance to have a possession to win the game, the third possession. I don't necessarily subscribe by that one because if you're going to go first, you have to score a touchdown, right? Like, you can't settle for a field goal, which they did. And then, of course, it plays out where Mahomes has to score a touchdown, and guess what? He's going to score a touchdown. He's Patrick Mahomes, and he did. So I'm with you. I think you always want to go second, and that's certainly what you do in college football. But I guess I can see the argument if you're going by the feel and your defense is winded to let them have a little bit of a break. It didn't matter, though.
Stugotz, I'm guessing people noticed who Kansas City's leading rusher was, right? Because once Pacheco fumbled, Patrick Mahomes became Kansas City's leading rusher. That's how they used him the rest of the game.
Yes.
It is startling to see him win that game. I understand everyone expects him to win. He did not have the better team. That was a questioned team all season long. It's the worst version of that team that he's had since he started at this elevation. And he had no receivers.
Right.
Like, I mean, he's in some ways, he's just getting started. Chris Cody is saying he already misses Radio Row. Already misses it. What is happening with you?
I miss it. I just miss the whole buzz about it. I feel like I didn't get to go enough because as these guys were there Wednesday and Thursday, that's like the peak of it, and I kind of miss those days. But I also feel like the bigger problem here is, Dan, you have it all wrong. You're thinking of Radio Row back in the day when we were like, local, not that respected, just one of the. Now you're a top dog now.
It's different now.
You get respect now, and I know Stugotz was kind of complaining about these parts of it. Even though I don't believe him, he misses being just one of the shows. But I just feel like nowadays, if you went there for the entire week like Stugotz, you get left alone for the like you're in your bubble, and people the people that you want get brought to you. I just don't think it's as sad as you remember it being all those years ago.
I said this to Dan a year ago, that the way we're received at Radio Row is unlike any other time in our show's history. We're received differently. You need to experience it.
It's true, but also stay away from it. Don't go to Radio Row. Like don't go there, please. I was sad that we didn't go Friday. I was sad that we didn't go Thursday. Because the thing is that like the primetime days have shifted a little bit, and I was considering going on Friday, but Stu's flight was like at 4, so it's like, I'm not gonna go and just waste time if no one's gonna talk to us. But yeah, it's definitely dope AF now, as the kids say, Dan.
Our choice, the place that we chose, and God, I can't thank Circa enough for saying yes to every single thing that we needed. But my logic in choosing what it is that I chose, I had reinforced when I met the people who came out to see us. And so many of them were genuinely moved by the symbolism of us choosing something far away from Radio Row to specifically be downtown. Because I don't know if you guys know the history of that entire part of the country, but I don't think there's a fourth city in what I'm about to say. I think there are 3 cities known for being less repressed than others when it comes to just general debauchery and sin. I think it is Las Vegas, I think it is Miami, and I think it is New Orleans.
3 and only 3, huh?
I don't think there's a fourth there. I mean, you could go New York and L.A., but I think in terms of gold, silver, and bronze medalist of Let It Fly, there are fewer consequences here than anywhere else. And nowhere in our union, is there a place more okay with legalized sin than that entire region? And then downtown is a little extra dirty. But you guys are telling me that you're telling me that you'd rather be on Radio Row than the setup that we had?
I wouldn't say rather. I loved being at the Circa. I loved the live shows. I just think the way you think of Radio Row is just not the experience you would have.
You would still hate it. To be perfectly honest with you, you would still hate it.
I'm with Billy on that.
No, you did. You did go to do an interview, and I remember like talking to everyone involved with the logistics. I'm like, you got to get him out though. Like, you bring him in, hide him in the bushes that we had there, so no one can see him, because like he's gonna get swarmed if he walks out like into the general public, and he's not gonna like that. Like, get him in and out, because it's not gonna be in it. Like, I like it. Stugotz likes it. Chris likes it. You would not have liked it.
Sounds like Billy and Stu like having Radio Row to themselves. That's what it sounds like to me.
Oh,
right
definitely.
Yeah, Dan, you also missed out on the
Dan,
the Conch Republic would like a word. The Conch Republic stands strong in those, hey, anything flies, let it ride.
Fair enough. Okay.
I did think, Dan, and I didn't volunteer this because it was going to be a lot of extra work for me, and we had like a tight deadline that day. But I did, posit this to some people and say, you know what? Dan, if he went around and he did hits on like little like stations or smaller like podcasts or whatever, I think he'd have fun if he did it with one of us. Like if we were going around and doing it with him, and it was just like him and someone else doing it. I thought it'd be a good time for you. But also it's quite overwhelming.
Yeah.
Well, you were delighted, as happy as I saw you, and I saw you happy plenty of times over the course of the week. So I didn't see you karaoke singing with Fuentes, so maybe you were happier then.
I was uncomfortable. I prefer if that video doesn't see the light of day, because I wasn't fully into it.
You brought it up.
I'm being told that we don't have video, but we have
I
a
wasn't
shot.
dancing. Yeah, I didn't dance. I was a little, rigid because it was a long day and I didn't know we were going to get into it. I also didn't know there was a camera, so I didn't know we were putting on a performance. I thought it was just the two of us and Juju. But it seems as though it's been found.
Many years ago, we showed up at some place that had a few hundred people at it. And as I got there, because he knows I can be uncomfortable with just the streaming insanity that can happen when people notice that crappy celebrity has arrived. Billy Gill, many years ago, just shouted as I walked in, sort of shuffling and looking at my feet, "Hey, there's Dan Le Batard!"
Yeah, is that Jay Wakefield?
And he did that again, and this was as delighted as I saw him the entire week. As soon as I walked into Radio Row, what do you mean falsehoods?
Falsehoods.
You did it again.
No, falsehoods. I did that back in the day out loud for everybody to hear it. And then you got me back at a Moss event where you did it to me, and then the thing happened to me. And then at Radio Row, I playfully said it when it was just like the DK people around. I go, no, I wasn't loud. I just go, hey, it's Dan Le Batard. And I pointed at him, just kind of joking around with, if I did this, it would be really bad.
Just
and
between the two of you.
Exactly. I knew I would. It was
right,
a little IJ,
right.
an inside joke, as the kids say.
It, right.
You know what I mean? Dope AF. LOL. Raffle.
I saw that the audio,
SDFU.
The audio is not good on the karaoke, unfortunately.
What a shame.
It looks like you're having a great time. This is you ebullient. This is what Greg Cody had on his face when he was the.
He is. Billy's so
This
happy.
is the
right
Hee Haw
here.
3.
Well, this is the end.
Oh, we would have
because-
put them out of business.
No doubt. This is the end because we were done with Radio Row on Thursday, and this is Billy just letting it out.
Oh,
you
yeah, I
know?
let it
Yes.
loose. I got a free
Yeah,
T-shirt.
He was happy. We were done. Yeah.
What were the highlights from the halftime show for you guys? I saw a lot of people were complaining or were saying that Jermaine Dupri looked like
Odd choice with the shorts.
But a lot of people thought it was CeeLo Green, right? A lot of people didn't think it was.
I didn't know anyone.
My one Jermaine Dupri story. I've only got one, but it's a great one.
Why would you have two?
I have but I've got a good one.
Shot you have one.
I don't need a second one. The one I've got is really good. It's the Miami Super Bowl. It's and this was happening everywhere in Vegas. It's 2:00 in the morning in one of these clubs. You turn around a corner, and I see there is Jermaine Dupri, and he is on Shaq's shoulder.
Super Bowl week.
On
Like perched like a parrot?
Like a parrot, yes. Like a parrot. He is just sitting on.
Me and who?
He's just sitting on Shaq's shoulder. What were the highlights from the halftime show?
When it was over.
I was asleep.
Oh no,
Roy.
Sleeping?
You slept through the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I fell asleep at halftime. At halftime, and then I woke up for the third quarter.
First half was bad.
Kind of proud of you.
Look, Usher,
tired.
great. He's an amazing artist. He's an incredible performer. Not his best work.
I thought the choreography was really good, but I couldn't really hear it. So I can't be the judge of how it sounded. But I love the dancing. I love the roller skates. I want to get roller skates. I'll probably eat shit like Billy.
My guess is roller skates had a spike in sales today, right? Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Did roller skates spike in sales today? Because everything that happens during the Super Bowl makes a spike in sales.
A bit breathy, too, at the end.
Man, you are a critic.
Really?
That seems
I'm
like
just calling it like it
seems
is
like
now.
a hard
He was
situation.
dancing his ass off.
People,
so.
I feel
Was
like
that Romo?
people already decided before that whether they liked it or not. Like I heard Tony last week give this take about the Super Bowl thing. Like it was just like people were already decided. I had one friend I was watching with. We had buffering issues. Like I was watching it and it was just like that thing where you see
Spinning wheel of death.
I need to rewatch it because I didn't get the full experience. One of my friends was just like top 2 Super Bowl performance ever. I'm like, dude, we missed a third of it because of buffering. You must have just already had that opinion. Like there's no way. I'm not criticizing it. I don't think it was a top 5. I love Usher. The bangers, at the end, crushed. Can it just be good? Like why do we have to do this thing where it's shitty? It's top 5. It was good.
Top 2 Super Bowl. Really?
That's what my friend said while watching
You
it through
were
buffering.
asleep. You're not allowed to have any kind of
Oh,
opinion
yes, I can.
whatsoever.
Yes, I can. You know why? Michael Jackson and Prince.
Yeah.
He should not have that opinion. Top 2 of all time.
Proud of you, Roy.
How do you know it wasn't better than Michael
didn't see
Jackson
it?
and Prince?
You were a
I don't have to be awake for that to know
you
that.
proved this point
Yeah,
that
that's
whatever
exactly
your
what he just
opinion
said.
was your opinion whether you saw the show or not.
Wow.
You just proved it.
Thank you. There you go.
No, thank you.
You're welcome.
You were asleep.
Boy, Roy.
You cannot have a strong opinion about what the show was
you
when
can.
you were asleep for it.
I wasn't asleep because of the show. I was asleep because of Las Vegas. That's why. I was tired.
Because of
Oh,
this
in
show.
Toronto as well.
Okay, I don't need your resume on travel. You have an opinion.
Sweet bona fides.
Like 3 weeks ago, too.
Dan, in fairness to Roy, did he need to see the halftime show to know that it wasn't better than Prince or Michael Jackson? I mean, come on.
Yes.
No.
I'm with Chris. You have to at least watch it. Give it a chance.
Watching is overrated.
I'm not trying to disprove Chris. I'm trying to disprove the guy,
My
the
friend,
party,
yeah.
that guy, his friend.
Through buffering was like top 2. I mean, admit it, to Roy's point, it was a ridiculous take by my friend.
I thought it was good.
Put
I'm
it-
with Chris.
Same.
Let's leave it at that. It was fine. Good job, Usher.
Put it on the poll, Juju. Can you have an opinion on what you just saw when you were asleep?
Absolutely.
Isn't that like 90% of sports media takes?
Come on.
A strong opinion with a lot of conviction
Michael Jackson and Prince, Dan.
about what you just saw when your eyes were closed and you did not see it. I think that's the one instance in which I could say with absolute conviction, your opinion is disqualified. You don't have to have an opinion about this.
Roy, what did you think of Brock Purdy?
He was fine.
You were sleeping.
I was awake for the game. He was fine.
Wait, a halftime
You
nap?
just took a nap for
I
halftime?
took a nap for halftime.
Yeah,
That
told
is
us
just
that.
total bullshit. I'm sorry.
It's a long
Why are
halftime.
we encouraging this lie?
It's a long halftime.
Yeah,
It
but he
is
did
like-
not take a nap just for halftime and
I
wake up to
did.
see the rest.
I put 20 minutes on my timer, and
So you had no, like, that is so odd. I would
That
have
is
thought,
elite napping.
I would have watched the halftime
Not
and then
true.
slept like the first 10 or 15 minutes of the third quarter. Like, I feel like halftime show, you got to check it out.
No, I rather
All right.
watch football.
I could have slept through the first half, if we're being honest. You don't really miss much if you slept through that.
Yeah, that is true.
Couple fumbles, who cares?
The thing about the first half, the only thing that will be remembered is Kelce almost knocking Andy Reid over. Correct? There's nothing else from the first half that ends up mattering in
No
the game.
falsehoods. We had 2 record-setting field goals.
Oh, that's true.
That's right. Yeah.
I thought to myself, 55's not that far. I can't believe it's the record.
Is Andy Reid old enough that we can call this elder abuse?
Yes.
He had to fall.
You're right.
He had to fall. It's like a charge. You can't take a charge and not fall. You got to fall with the charge.